And now I'm really excited. It's a pleasure to introduce our first session with IAB Europe's Lauren Wakefield. Lauren, are you here? There
I'm
you
here.
are.
Hi, Stefan.
There we go. Great to have you on board. Looking forward to your presentation. There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Stefan. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. As Stefan mentioned, I'm Lauren. I work in the marketing team at IAB Europe and also helped to put together our State of Readiness Report, which I'm just going to give a bit of a brief overview of today, but you can get the full report on our website. So the State of Readiness Report, so this was developed back at the end of 2022 by our Sustainability Standards Committee. It's because we really wanted to try and gain some valuable insights into our industry's progress and to understand what more needs to be done to achieve sustainability. So as Stefan mentioned, this is now in its second year, and the report really does provide a comprehensive pan-European understanding of our industry's advancement towards sustainable digital advertising. So in terms of the methodology, so we used an online survey with the help of our national IAB network to ensure that a good representative sample was collected across 29 markets. The survey received 186 respondents between November 23 and January 24 this year. And as you can see from this graph, the majority of respondents were either head of sustainability, director, VP or C-suite level. And here from the pie chart, you can see that the buy side represented just over a third of the total respondents, with 27% agencies and 13% advertisers, and a large majority also coming from ad tech companies at 32%. And you can find more details on the methodology in the full report as well. So how the survey was built, we split this out into two sections. So the first was really to gather an understanding of how companies currently understood sustainability and how it related to other areas of importance in their business. So when thinking about key industry challenges, we can see here that sustainability has remained one of the top 3 challenges for businesses, and it's seen as just as important as the deprecation of third-party cookies and measurement when it comes to what needs to be tackled in digital advertising this year. So you can see there that it was 36% this year that cited deprecation of cookies, 35% measurement and 27% sustainability, which is quite similar to what we could see from the previous year. The deprecation of third-party cookies and measurement have grown ever so slightly this year. Obviously, you have the impending deadline for the deletion of third-party cookies in Chrome approaching quite quickly. And we're also finding that measurement solutions in the industry is gaining quite a lot of focus as well this year. So not too surprising with what we can see there. When it comes to considering what the most important aspects of sustainability in digital advertising are for companies, we can see here that the vast majority of respondents stated that greenhouse gas impact was the most important at 64%. If we look at other areas, just under a third said that social justice at 30%, creation of waste 28%, and governance 28%. Were also important. It's interesting to note that in 2023, respondents stated that environmental impact at 58% and carbon reduction at 55% were the 2 most important aspects of sustainability. And then when thinking about what actions the industry must take to drive environmental sustainability, we can see here that nearly all respondents agreed or strongly agreed that all actions were vital, but the adoption and development of solutions and tools to reduce GHG emissions in the digital ad supply chain both there at 90%, and this need for consistent standards for GHG estimation at 89% remain the clear priorities for the industry. Quite interestingly on this slide as well, we can see that employing carbon offsets is seen as the least important action to progression, with 21% disagreeing or strongly disagreeing. So this could potentially be down to the fact that this is viewed as a temporary measure rather than a permanent solution for us to achieve sustainability. And then when it comes to external verification, we can see here that nearly 2/3, 65% of respondents still agreed that our industry needs to have that external verification when it comes to CO2e measurement and standards. So very similar results to what we saw last year, but with that 5% increase. So indicating the industry is increasing its need for external authentication and still sees it as very important to progression. And then when it comes to how sustainability fits into business models, really interestingly, 2/3 strongly agree that it's a vital component there at 66%, showing that the industry is really taking sustainability seriously. In addition, just over half at 55% see it as an opportunity to drive further profit in business. But what's also interesting here is that just over a third at 36% see it as a threat to the business model. So whilst we can see that most see it as vital, and there is obviously more that maybe needs to be done to educate businesses on the value and the real positive impacts that sustainability can have on business plans. And then the second part of the survey is really diving into how far companies have come on their sustainability journey and how we can compare that to the results from last year. And one of the standout stats that we had from the report is if we look at how far businesses have got on their sustainability journeys, here you can see that 70% of respondents believe that their company has made some progress or significant progress towards environmental sustainability. In comparison, the 2023 report showed that 55% of respondents believe that their company had started or made that significant progress. So it's really shown that the industry is starting to take action towards CO2 reduction. And it's also quite encouraging to see that a low minority there on the left-hand side at 10%, not considering reducing impact at all. So again, I think with more educational guidance, we'll be able to encourage more action to be taken. And in terms of companies that have started their sustainability journeys, we can see here that completing an environmental sustainability audit, participating in industry forums as our own Sustainability Standards Committee, and creating a checklist of key actions that have been taken so far. And you can see that's quite similar to some of the actions that were taken in the 2023 report. And these were new questions that we added into the survey for this year. But when looking at what the industry has put into action, we can see that only 18% of businesses have set up those science-based targets, with 15% also in the process of setting them up. And then when it comes to digital advertising impact more specifically, only a quarter, 24%, have said that they have adopted a GHG estimation framework methodology model to measure the impact of digital advertising. So there is a level of understanding that targeting and estimation is really important, but more needs to be done to activate this as standard best practice in the industry. And more, we'll dive into this a bit more shortly with Dimitri and some of the work that he's been doing there. And then just finally, when it comes to what the industry needs to do next, so here we can see that nearly all respondents agree or strongly agree that a lack of education at 90%, a lack of industry standards at 89%, and also lack of transparency at 77% are the key challenges that as an industry we need to overcome. Also quite interestingly, 63% of respondents disagree or strongly disagree that professionals in the industry are educated enough on sustainability. So that kind of education point coming through again there. But finally, and slightly more encouragingly, 74% of respondents agreed or strongly agreed that in the long run, the industry will achieve the transparency information exchange required for robust estimation of greenhouse gas emissions in the digital advertising supply chain. So it's really clear to see that obviously ensuring sustainability in our industry is highly important, but to continue to drive this forward and achieve the sustainable delivery of digital advertising, we do need to come together and focus on educating individuals, creating consistent standards and those widely adopted standards for estimation and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, and also ensure that we provide transparency over our goals and how we intend to achieve them, all of which are core to the work that we are doing in our committee. And you can find out more information about both the committee and also access the full report on our website. But with that, I'm going to hand over to Dimitri, who's going to dive into some of the other great work we've been doing with the committee.